Tepu, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Haru Neper. This is Kasank Ma Keperu with another video for you. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to master magical cycles. But before I do that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. Be sure to do that. And if this is your first time to my channel, welcome. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications on when I go live or when I upload new recorded videos. And also, we have some free ebooks that you can sign up for and start reading right away. They deal with the esoteric and magical practices. So take advantage of that. The links are in the description box below. And also consider becoming a Patreon supporter. You can do so for as little as $1 or $5 per month. You can cancel anytime. And as a Patreon supporter, you get exclusive access to instructional videos on the esoteric, how to perform a ritual, how to summon spirits, proper breathing techniques, and a whole lot more. So let's get into this idea of understanding magical cycles. One of the things in the Cometian tradition that we need to understand is that cycles are very, very important. And coming from a warm climate, people of indigenous culture and most people who are coming from certain particular regions have a real in-depth understanding of cycles. Cycles can make or break you. One of the first people to understand cycles was, of course, women, because they go through their monthly cycles. And that is why one of the reasons why women became some of the first priestesses or priests. And it was very important to the survival of many cultures to understand how cycles operated. And we're talking about from nature or neter, and even from an astrological or the stars perspective. And in fact, you'll see that many who have made their fortunes on Wall Street really got into an in-depth study of cycles. So let's talk about that. Ancient Kemet, we know that the goddess that governs cycle is the goddess Sekert. So she is the one that, give me 1 second. Let's see if I can get something for you. Okay. She is the one that if you wanted to master cycles and have an understanding of the whole idea of magic and cycles, you would have to go to her. And this is Sekert. So you can have a representation for her visually. And she is seated and she has the head of the falcon. And I'm going to explain the iconography on that so you get a better understanding of it, all right? The hawk, the symbol of the hawk in ancient Kemet, really, it meant a lot of things. One of the things it meant was in a symbolic way is being focused, laser focused on something, a goal. You know, the hawks, when they go down to take that dive to capture their prey, they're laser focused. And Haru is a hawk. He was one of the first ancient deities worshipped in Kemet in Egypt. So Sekert really is telling you that you have to be, or it corresponds, or you have to emulate the attributes of the hawk. The meaning of her sitting down talks about, well, she's a very old goddess. She's a master witch. So she deals with obstacles. She deals with cycles. Now, when that card comes up in a reading, you know that whatever it is you want is going to take a while. And that could be because you're facing two things. Number one, there is an obstruction to what you want to get, or it's not the right cycle. And usually it's a combination of the two. And you may have to wait till the cycle passes before you are able to acquire the object of your desire. And that is a very important thing for us to understand, especially for the younger generation who is conditioned to get everything right away. They want to get things when they want it. There's a lack of understanding that, hey, you know what really governs the universe and governs the world is cycles, and you can't have it right now. Sorry, you're going to have to wait till this cycle is over. Now, one of the things I've been talking about in my previous videos, you know, we really have to get into an understanding of, is that the ancient Egyptians and people of antiquity, and I'm talking about, you know, the Chinese, the Greeks, the ancient African people, had a very good understanding of below the surface information. You see, in this society, we're taught to just look at things from a very superficial perspective. We don't really get into the depth of what something means because we're not trained to be right brain thinkers. Hence, we don't understand analogous thinking or abstract thinking. And because of that, everything that we perceive and experience in our way has a very superficial origin. And that's not true, because when you look deeper into things, you see that there is something that really controls our behavior, controls the universe that is beyond perception. And that is what you really have to be involved with and understand how to manipulate. And our ancestors understood this very, very clearly. And I'll take a case in point, just as an example. If you understand that what we call maybe as culture or maybe as human behavior has its origin in pendulums, in ergobores, you see, what dictates your behavior is not you as an individual just coming up with that cultural norm. You are, as the goddess Ma tells us, connected. We're all interdependent, interrelated to each other. And many of us have that umbilical cord or have that cord connected to a pendulum, which is downloading information into our psyche, which is causing us to act in concert. We're acting in agreement with each other to act in accordance in a certain way. This is why you'll have certain racial groups, certain genders act in a very, very predictable manner. And that is because they're receiving an information. In one way, shape, form, or another, you're going to be connected to a pendulum, whether you like it or not. It could be a good pendulum that fosters wealth and abundance, or a negative pendulum that fosters degradation. And what we're seeing in today's society is that the ruling elite is pushing the masses of the population to connect with and feed those negative pendulums. And one of them is, of course, left brain concrete thinking. Therefore, when you go and you study at these major universities, you're really learning nothing but how to regurgitate information. You're not learning higher sciences. You're not learning higher wisdom. You know, I was trying to communicate to this woman, and she, I guess, is an occultist. And one thing she was saying was that she believes in the flat earth idea, that the earth is flat. So what I then told her then, I said, well, if you are just going to accept that idea, then whatever is the thing that's in fad at the moment, you'll just go with the flow. You don't have within you the ability to intuit wisdom to know what's right and what's wrong. That is the attribute. That is what you should be really cultivating. Therefore, whatever is the fad of the time in the New Age community, in the occult community, you won't just go along with the flow. You'll know that that's not right. And too many of us are doing that. We are being Sebek. Sebek has the jackal with the big ears because Sebek goes by what he hears. He doesn't really know. Sebek is just informed and goes by that. But when you get to that wisdom level of Tahuti, you intuit wisdom from within and you know. You don't need to be told information. You connect directly to the Akashic records and you download information. And this is the problem with the New Age conspiracy theory arena now. They're relying on what is the latest fad. And then they're taking it to the next level, which is even worse, engaging in Sebek dialogue and debate. Because Sebek loves dialogue and Sebek loves debate. But those things cannot get to the heart of what truth is. Do you understand? Because truth is ma'at, and truth is relational thinking. It is not Sebek, which is debate thinking. What makes you a great orator or someone who's good at debating and who can win a debate doesn't make you right. It doesn't. Might does not make right. Just because the masses of people vote for somebody, and that the person wins, doesn't mean that these masses of people were correct. You must understand that. There's an old saying, 1 million people can say something, but if just the I-ching says no, then the I-ching is right. Because the I-ching taps into the wisdom of God, the Akashic records. And I don't care how many millions of people say something, if the I-ching says no, then the I-ching is right. Might does not make right. And we have to get to a point where we understand that so our children are educated properly and so that we are educated properly. We're too stupid. We're a stupid society. I'm looking at individuals who I studied with in the occult community making videos now on how they believe in there's life at the center of the earth or there's flat earth. I'm like, you're just going along with the flow so you can get views on YouTube. You don't know if that's true. Did you do an oracle reading on that to tell you if that's true? No, you didn't, because you don't believe in the oracles. So you have no connection to source energy. You have no connection to the truth. So whatever fad comes along, the aliens are coming out my doo-doo, you'll believe it because the masses of people are on board with it. You're stupid. When you operate from a higher spiritual perspective, from the Tahuti level, the Hermes Trismegistus level, the Ma'at level, then you start to understand things from a deep, abstract perspective. And one of the things is Sekert is the acceptance of limitations. The I-ching, the great Chinese oracle, has the 60th hexagram, which is limitations. And this is my original that I went to priesthood with, so you can see it's all out my notes and the cover's gone. So this has been around for years, man, years, decades. Here's a 3D effect. Woo, 3D. 3D is third dimension, okay? Third dimension thinking is duality thinking, all right? So let me take you to a higher level of understanding. I am walking down the street and I bump into a young lady and I get into an argument with her. Then I get pissed at her, I yell at her, I call her names. I go into Walmart, I get into an argument with the female cashier and I yell at her, I curse at her. At work, I yell and curse at one of my clients, female clients. Now, because I understand that in the oracles I drew on a set tem, because I understand that I'm going through the Aset Tem cycle, or in the tarot deck, the moon, this is telling me that this cycle, I am going to have issues with women. Therefore, I need not get emotional and get upset. It is a cycle that I am going through, which is part of my overall destiny reading. This cycle will last 28 days. The I-ching tells me this. The I-ching tells me this. The Meduna Tarot Oracle tells me this. The Tarot tells me this. That part of the cycle I will be going through is that I will have issues with women. Therefore, when arguments arise and issues arise with my 11 wives, I need not get upset. All I need to do is step back and say, well, this is not about them. There is a greater thing going on here. And that is, this is part of a cycle that I'm going through. And I need to be at peace, amen, and just be consciousness, the observer, and observe what I'm going through and just experience it and not taint it with the world is messed up. All women suck. All women are evil. Women are bad. This is messed up. I'm going MGTOW. I'm just going to say that, men are a better gender. Women are messed up. Do you understand the higher thinking I'm taking this to? You see, Sekert, I'll put the card back, deals with destiny. You are incarnated into this planet or on this planet with a specific set of cycles that you will go through your entire life. You can actually map it out if you understand the Chinese system called the Bagua. The Bagua will map out the cycles you go through from birth to death. You can see it. And if you look and take the time to map out the cycles, you will know that here you're going to go through this, you're going to go through that, you're going to go through this. So whatever happens, be at peace. You may be going through a cycle of repair. I don't care what you do, you better start fixing things because that's the cycle to do it. And if you are in alignment with that cycle, things will go your way. But because we have that superficial understanding of things, we will place the blame at individuals and circumstances instead of understanding the fault lies not within ourselves but in the stars. It is part of the destiny agreement we made. Don't take it personal. Don't make it personal. The alignment of the stars determines the destiny you will go through at the time of birth and the region you're born in. But Western society says you can do anything you want. You're an individual. You're a strong, empowered woman. You're a leader. You're a master universe. You're a man. You can do this. You can do that. You have to take a step back and submit to cycles and say there's a time and a place for everything, especially in magic. If you're going to appeal to the goddess Ma'at for wealth and abundance, you have to do that on a Thursday. And you have to do that in the Ma'at cycle. And if you do that correctly during Ma'at's magical hour, you will gain favor. If you want abundance and you go to Sebek, good luck. So we're getting tripped up by this very limited perspective on things. This is why it's important to have an acceptance of how things are. Because a lot of times we don't connect the dots. We'll go through misfortune after misfortune after misfortune, and we just don't know what's causing it, not realizing or doing a reading, trying to figure out what cycle is this, because something's going on. When I see things like that, immediately I go to the oracles. Basically, to put it into a nutshell, you should be doing a reading every month on your life. You can do 3, one on love if you want, one on wealth, and another one which is on general welfare. And when you do the reading, especially you can do it with i-ching, you can do it with the tarot. When you do the reading, certain themes will appear, and you have to understand how to read the themes, how to interpret those themes. And that is the theme for your cycle, that 28-day cycle that month. With that understanding, then you know the challenges and obstructions you will face. And you can submit to that, and you can start working and doing the rituals in your magic to either go around that, if possible, or to bring abundance in different areas. Because sometimes you may face something that you just can't overcome that month. And that may be, well, you're going to get a lot of bills and you're going to be financially strapped that month. But don't worry, 2 months down the road, you're going to have abundance. So deal with what's going on now by conserving your efforts, conserving your finances. You can predict this. You can see this. And I do 12-month readings, well, basically for years, a year cycle. So I don't want any surprises in my life. I want to know what's going on for the year of 2020. And I can see it all spelled out, and I mark it up on my calendar, and I have a whiteboard, and I write it all down. This month is going to be this cycle, that next month's going to be that cycle, and I know exactly what to expect and how to prepare. When I'm working as a consultant, if I know that my contract is up this month, how long will it be before I acquire a new contract? And the oracle will say, well, it's going to take you about 2 months, 60 days to get a new contract. So then I go to my wives and I go, hey, you know what? Don't be buying diamonds. Don't be buying this. Don't be buying that. Chill with that. We got to conserve our money, and but you can buy me stuff. But anyway, so we know how to just conserve finances to get us through to that 60-day period, if that makes sense. And then what we would do, we would come together and do Ma'at rituals to attract more wealth, even though that cycle is on the decline, which is the 41st hexagram in the I-ching, which is decline. So with that understanding, you should be walking around talking about, oh, wow, why is it hard to find a job? No, you can't be thinking that way, because you know that there's a 60-day period of how long it will take you to acquire a new job, because you understand how the cycle works. For you, it's an individual thing. It's not something that's generalized for everyone. But this is the society that we exist in. When you get into the whole capitalistic mindset and entrepreneur mindset, which they're deaf, dumb, and blind, they always try to sell you on the Kool-Aid, what you drink the Kool-Aid, and say, we can all be rich and famous. We can all work my program for $39.95, and you could be rich too. Or actually, it's $399. That's usually how they sell it. So you buy into that, and you buy the program, not realizing that life is not a one-size-fits-all type of thing. It's not. You came into this existence with a specific destiny, and you're going to have to fulfill that destiny. And what's going to work for Bill Gates is not going to work for you. What's going to work for Jeff Bezos is not going to work for you. I remember when they and I hate to talk about this, but I have to say this. When they talk about how Jay-Z is a billionaire, right? You have all these dumbass guys walking around going, I'm gonna be rich too, I'm gonna be rich too. So I'm like, are you that easily influenced by what you see in popular media? Of course you are, because you're attached to that pendulum. You got these individuals online talking about, join my black business school, but all they talk about is rap music. Well, are you going to talk about Mansa Musa, the richest African-American man in history, worth over $400 billion? But all you're going to talk about is 50 Cent. In your business school, all you talk about is rap. Are you going to talk about business? Yes, I could make you a millionaire. No, you can't. That's a false claim. You can give them the tools to empower themselves, to help them to bring abundance and fruitfulness into their life, but you can't guarantee you'll make them a millionaire. That's a lie. This is why I focus on empowering you. You see, other spiritualists, especially the Christian community, want to focus on telling you how their Savior is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and how if you tithe with them or if you follow them, you have a happy life, which is a lie, because you're forever a student in their congregation. You'll be there forever and ever learning from them, because they will never teach you the tools to empower yourself and to perform wonders and miracles in your own life through your own magic and to realizing your own divinity. They're never going to teach you that. They want you to be forever a follower. Because there's a point where you're supposed to be able to take these principles and enact upon them and not need a sage or a teacher for the entire length of your life. If what I am teaching you, you're just listening to it for intellectual masturbation and you're not acting upon it, then that's your fault, and then you're not going to experience the full of abundance that you could. So when I'm showing you how to do oracle readings, that's just not to predict, oh, well, how tomorrow is going to go. Will I get that job? Will I hit a lottery? No, it is to map out your life in terms of cycles and see what God has laid out for you, what you have laid out for you, and then acting accordingly, understanding those cycles and saying, this is how I have to prepare, because there are things that are going to come my way that I need to know about. But no, you rather just go ahead and let life throw you here and there, like the 51st hexagram in the I-ching, where it talks about shock, that you're getting punched here and punched there, and you have no center. If that's what you want in life, go ahead. But that's not what I want. I want to know what's going on. And of course, there's a downside to it as you perceive it, because life really is meaningless. You're thinking, well, if I do that and I see something negative, then I'm going to get all emotionally uptight. Well, that's your fault getting emotionally uptight. That's your emotions not being in check. And do you realize how stupid what you just said is? Well, I don't want to do the readings because if I see something negative, I don't want to get emotionally upset. So you're saying you're on a ship and you don't want to do a reading to find out if it's going to sink. You'd rather just leave it to chance. Because if the article tells you that ship is going to sink, you can start getting into the lifeboat. But no, you don't want to do that because you may get emotionally upset. We have backwards thinking, man. We have backwards thinking. And we have superficial thinking. Just like you get into a relationship with somebody, you get into an argument, instead of realizing that, oh, okay, they have a destiny of a set 10 or they're Pisces negative, meaning that they have emotional issues that they're going to have to overcome in this lifetime. Let me be the vehicle by which they can overcome those emotional impulses. Let me help them to transcend that. No, you're going to assign the quality to a person and say, oh, that person is just emotional. I can't deal with them. Not understanding that is a planetary energy, the moon energy that really is going through them and is magnified through them, which is causing them to act in a very negative emotional way. Help them to bring that into balance. But all you want to see is that person, is you're assigning a quality to them, an inherent quality to them. When I see these fools acting the way they are, the one thing I think about is I say, oh, they're connected to that pendulum that is really downloading information to get them to act in accordance to that way. When you get into like things like the medical Qigong or the system of Qigong, you really start to understand energy systems. Just like I notice that when I go out, I'm saying, well, I see a lot of Chinese people tend to go out in groups and in packs. What is up with that? And then you go and you start looking at the Qigong system. You understand that there is an organ or an energy system that deals with clannish or cliquish behavior. And the energy system gets us to tend to cling to either a racial or gender demographic. And we feel safe with them, which is why we'll go out in those groups. But you take that and you interpret it negatively. Why is Chinese people always hanging out with each other? Why Black people act like this? You're not looking at the energy systems that dictate that type of behavior and how you can bring those energy systems by frequency and vibration back into balance. So the takeaway I'm trying to get you to understand here is that stop looking at things from the surface perspective and start looking at the cycles, the energy that underlines things and governs things. Stop assigning it a quality and just be consciousness and just be the observer and observe it, and therefore you will learn. In the I-ching, it talks about the 61st hexagram, inner truth, not superficial truth. When you start dealing with that inner truth, then the universe starts opening up and revealing its secrets to you. But if you are going to act in accordance with Western man's thinking and philosophy, you're going to go through the entire life not understanding the occult hidden, which is the occult means the hidden, secrets to life. There are individuals who are making millions and millions of dollars by understanding cycles. But you don't hear about that. Because all you want to pay attention to is Jay-Z got being a billionaire. Though you can't name any other billionaires or millionaires throughout all of history. You can only name what's in pop culture, That's how you want to lead your life, then go ahead. You want to assign a quality to someone because they aggravated you, but don't know the organ system that's acting in a negative way, which is causing them to act out of balance. And you don't know how to help them to bring that organ system through herbs and through mantras back into balance. That's high science. So you just don't want to deal with them, so forget them. I see these nincompoops online, and they talk about, well, I'm going to give a class in fatherhood. I'm going to tell you how to be a good father. I'm going to tell you, how to make money. When I've said a million times, I can talk to you to death, but that is the left brain Sebek energy that is not at the seat or the root of behavior change. Behavior change comes from the right brain, the subconscious mind. And in order for you to have a true change of heart, to control your behavior, you're going to have to throw yourself into trance hypnosis. That's the only way it's going to be. If you don't do that, if you don't perform a ritual or throw yourself in trance, you're going to go back to your default programming, acting the way you've always acted. You may go to a motivational lecture and then become hyped for about a week, if it's a really good one. And then after that, it's back to business as usual. You complaining about your life, talking about not how much money you don't have, But if I want you to really attract wealth and to change your life, to gain favor with Ma'at, the goddess of wealth, or Heteru, the goddess of good fortune, then I have to throw you into trance. Then I can contact the energy that's within you to make that change. And then you will find that when you come out of it, you have a profound experience and different perspective on life. Those people who have experienced ayahuasca and DMT, who have taken that medicine and gone under that deep state of trance, have come out, and it has basically eliminated depression within them. They now have a very different perception of life now. It has changed them in a deep way. Because we don't understand, we think everything can be taught or changed or manipulated by verbal discourse, by just me sitting there and talking to you. Which is kind of like the Freudian model, where I sit you down and I talk through your problems and help you come to an epiphany, and therefore you'll change. That doesn't work. I have a friend now who all he talks about is making money. But when he goes home, he gets and starts playing video games and goes to movies. I said, dude, you never really work on getting money. And then when you work on getting money, you get involved in get rich quick schemes. What is wrong with you? I know what's wrong with him. But when I start talking to him about, look, let me just put you down to trance and let me eliminate that stuff within you, that procrastination, that trying to get the get rich quick pill. Let me eliminate all those ideas within you through trance. And I guarantee you'll be on the right path. But he doesn't want to do that because he doesn't accept that he's so indoctrinated to Western science and Western thinking. Tell somebody, well, you have to study for that test, so sit there and read the book and just go over it again and again and again until you commit it to memory. No, look, I'm going to sit you down. I'm going to put you in trance. I'm going to feed you the information. It's going to go directly into the long-term memory of the subconscious mind. You're going to retain that information. And then when you give yourself that post-hypnotic suggestion, that trigger, the information now will instantly come out when you need it. We don't deal in stuff like that. We're too concrete thinkers. We're too superficial thinkers. We think it all has to do with the conscious waking mind. And it doesn't work that way. We have specific organs. We have the specific hemisphere of the brain that works in certain ways and through certain cycles. Wake up in the morning, the first 30 minutes, the subconscious mind is open to impression. The majority of your day, the left brain waking state is awake and active. Last 30 minutes before you go to sleep, the subconscious mind is open to impression or impregnation, or set. She deals with the right brain, the subconscious mind. So I just want to bring a greater understanding of how these cycles work and what we need to do. It's like, instead of us submitting to the cycles and the obstructions, we try to fight them. You know? And then when we're fighting them, we blame the external world for our problems. Well, that program doesn't work. That person's very messed up. No, that's not true. A place for everything in this, you know, there's a place for everything and everything in this place. There's an interdependent interrelationship between all things. When you see people doing things, guys walking around in baggy jeans that are hanging down, that's a pendulum. That person is not inherently stupid or inherently out of style with fashion. They are connected to a pendulum, which is downloading information, which is saying, pull down your pants, show your damn booty. I'm seeing women walking around getting butt injections. I'm like, why are all these women getting butt injections? What is up with this? It's a pendulum. It's downloading information. It's telling the girl, your booty's not big enough. Get a butt injection. You know, I think my booty's not big enough. I need to get a butt injection. That's what's going on. We're dealing with spirits, energies that are beyond your perception. You can't see them because you can't see all the spectrums of life, but they are there, and they're dictating your behavior. And you'd be glad you can see them, because if they were to take manifestation, take form, they would be some ugly ass spirits which would terrify you. Maybe you should see them. That way you know what you'll be dealing with. And you know what's controlling your behavior. Anyway, I have to go. This is Kasank Ma Keperu, son of the goddess Ma'at and Tahuti. My aunt is the beautiful goddess Heteru. Until my next video, Amun Ra.